So hi, today is another episode of Things to Avoid. And today we are going to focus on a very important aspect. It's going to be all around life insurance policies. And no, before you get confused, yes, you should get life insurance policies to ensure that your beneficiaries are well taken care of in the event of your demise. So you should have it. But what you should be very careful with and avoid, you should put a lot of consideration to who you state as a beneficiary. And in this event, I'm going to show you why in some cases you should avoid placing your spouse as a beneficiary on your life insurance policy. Not saying you should not, but I'm going to show you a scenario where you should have avoided putting your spouse as the beneficiary for your life insurance policy. So let's get to it. Now, a beneficiary is generally a person or an organization that you choose to receive your insurance proceeds in the event of your demise. There are two classes of beneficiaries. There's a primary beneficiary, which is the first person you want to get the proceeds, and there's a contingent or secondary beneficiary. They will receive it if the primary cannot receive it or won't receive it. Now, a life insurance policy is generally a non-probate asset. And the benefit of a non-probate asset, you generally would get the payoff, receive the payoff faster than if you had to wait for it to go through probate. And I'm going to talk about probate a little bit more in another series, another episode. But it is a non-probate asset, which is why as soon as someone, God forbid, their demise, face a demise, anybody that you might know that may have passed away and they had a life insurance policy, within a couple weeks or even quicker, within a very short time, the insurance company pays off the amount of money that was supposed to be paid. The cash value is paid off and received by the beneficiaries very quickly. They didn't have to go to court or any of these things to get that payoff. So it's a non-probate asset. Now, because it's a non-probate asset, you really don't have to put your life insurance policy, you don't have to include it in your last will and testament. You don't have to put you really don't have to. Because I'll tell you, if you were to have, now that's assuming you listed someone as the beneficiary on the paperwork for the life insurance. Once you do that, then that person you state as the beneficiary for a life insurance policy will be the person getting the payoff in the event of a demise. Now, even if you were to list someone in your last will and testament as the beneficiary, then that paperwork, that designation form that you did for your life insurance policy, and there's a designation form that you have to fill out for your life insurance policy where you state who you want as the beneficiary for your life insurance policy. So that designation form, whoever you state, that is the person going to get the payoff. So even if you do a last will and testament, and as I say, you have to check the laws of your country. It may not be so for every single country, but many countries have reviewed this has been the case. The life insurance policy, whoever is stating the designation, they are the one will get the payoff regardless of whether or not you put a beneficiary, a different beneficiary in your last will and testament. So let me explain to you. If you did up the designation form for your life insurance policy and you put someone, and then you did your last will and testament and you place someone else as the beneficiary for your life insurance policy in your last will and testament, then what's going to happen is that in the event of your demise, that designation form, whoever is listed in the designation form, is going to override whatever you put in your last will and testament. So it's very important for you to keep checking what's your designation form saying, what your last will and testament says. And it should be, if you want to still go and include it in your will and testament, it should be that you have both names the same. Whoever is listed in designation form and whoever is listed in will, the name should be the same. Otherwise, whoever is in designation is going to be the person who is going to get the payoff for the life insurance policy. So, to the main feature of this episode of things to avoid, I'm going to show you under which circumstance you should avoid placing your spouse as a beneficiary for your life insurance policy. And you have to understand, putting your spouse as your beneficiary is very different from putting someone else, your friend, your sister, your brother, is very different. As a matter of fact, the most life insurance plans, they have stipulations where if you are married and you place someone, your spouse, as your beneficiary for your life insurance policy, many times you will have to get consent from them to have it removed, have their name removed from the beneficiary for the life insurance policy. So if you don't have a good relationship with your spouse, or if you all are in the middle of a divorce and your spouse they want as much as they could get, then know that they're never going to sign that form to consent removing their name. So compare that to someone else. If it was your sibling, it could be removed without having consent. It was a friend, you could get the names removed, your friend's name removed as a beneficiary. But your spouse, most policies, life insurance policies, they require your spouse to give written consent before you could get their name removed. Furthermore, if you end up in a divorce, then it's very likely that even after the divorce, your spouse or your ex-spouse, their name will stay as the beneficiary for your life insurance policy, unless there is a stipulation. The divorce decree includes some stipulation for the removal or the changing of the beneficiary. And if that is the case, then you would be able to move it. But if there is no stipulation, they will remain the beneficiary for your life insurance policy, although you are no longer married to them. Your spouse could also ask that you pay them off something. It's down to the negotiation. If you don't have a spouse that is actually, fair enough, they may ask you to go and pay them a sum to get. But at the end of the day, they have to, in most policies, they will require you to get written consent from your spouse. So you see how easy it was to include their name. But in the middle of a bitter divorce, it's very complicated to get their names removed. Actually, you're not going to be able to get it removed the way that you actually introduced it. They will have to consent. So in that respect, it may not be a good idea unless you really know this person and this person really contributed sufficiently to your life that you don't mind, or it doesn't bother you, that they will stay on the policy. Before, if you do not have that kind of understanding of the individual, then it might not be a good idea to include them on your policy. Include them as a beneficiary for your life insurance policy. Put your children name, put a child, one of your offspring name on your policy. But be very careful putting a spouse as a beneficiary, because it's not as easy. It was easy to introduce the name to the policy. It's more complicated to remove that name once you all are married. So I hope this was a beneficial episode for you all, and I'll see you all on the next one.